Unprecedented cooperation between local and federal authorities helped stop Austin's series of bombing attacks. That's what Interim Police Chief Brian Manley told the U.S. House Committee on Homeland Security in Washington today. Tony Plahetsky covered the bombings around the clock for us. He's here now with more on what the chief said. Tony?
Well, Terry, Chief Manley told that committee that the bombings would have overwhelmed any department, but he says the way APD worked with federal agents from the FBI and the ATF should be a national model for how law enforcement must come together in a time of crisis. Chief Manley was the first panel member to address this committee, headed by Congressman Michael McCall from here in Austin. The committee wanted to find out what lessons were learned from the Boston bombings 5 years ago and the series of attacks here in Austin. Chief Manley says he was truly amazed that the federal government devoted hundreds of agents to the case, sending them both to here in Austin as well as having them work the case in Washington.
The events of March of 2018 have forever changed Austin. The lives of Mr. Anthony House and Mr. Draylon Mason have been taken and can never be returned, and they will not be forgotten. Our city will return to being a vibrant and inclusive city that we have been prior to this incident, and we will work to not forget the lessons learned.
Chief Manley did discuss some investigative steps that police and federal agents took to find the bomber, and he says the investigation does remain open. Chief Manley was joined by the Boston Police Commissioner, who discussed what lessons his city learned after the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, the chief did ask the committee to return some federal funding to Austin that the city had lost. Mike?